Incoming. Look at that right there, she's stunning. Spring dress so vivid in color. I know now it's gonna be a big summer. Here, mama. Nope, there's no bluffing this brother. Big talk never ever did matter. So excuse me if I'm a bit gutter. Are you single? Can we mingle? Reply with your eyes, twinkle, twinkle. Skin flawless, not a single wrinkle. She don't know it, but she's already been.
Hi, Trinity here. I just wanted to give you an idea of how to set up a precise pantograph system to do a pantograph for a border. So once you have your precise pantograph system set up on your machine, you want to go ahead and take a look at your quilt that you have loaded and find out where your edges of your border are. So on this particular quilt, I want to move my needle right to the very corner of the quilt. And when I look down, I'll be able to see my laser light right at the absolute very corner of where that's at. So usually on my plastic, I just use a vis-a-vis marker and I'll put a dot right there. So now I'll be able to know this is my absolute corner. So now if I just lay a straight edge and draw a line between those two dots, I now know my border, where the edge of my border is. That becomes important for the corner areas. Your quilt, I'm working at the bottom of my quilt. Your quilts are never going to be perfectly straight, so you need to know where they begin and where they end. So let's go back over to our corner point, and we're just going to move across a little bit so that we're at another spot, and where the laser is, we'll make another dot. Move down the quilt a little bit, where the laser is, make a dot. And you'll keep doing this all the way across the quilt. Now this gives us a straight line in which to line our pantograph up with. And of course, everywhere that we are looking at where our border is, making a dot. Keep working along the quilt until you get to the next corner. And again, the more dots you make, the easier it is to keep straight. Now we're at our opposite corner, so we have our needle exactly in the corner position, and we'll go ahead and put a dot where our laser is, and again move up the quilt a little so that you again know where the edge is, and make a dot. Between all of these lines, you'll want to go ahead and make another line. Just lay your straight edge and draw between the dots. The same will hold true for the dots for your border. Now if you look at our border, you can see it's really got a wave at the bottom, so it's not very straight. So we want to make sure we have as many dots as possible to connect the lines so that we can adjust our pantograph as we go. Just as a point of reference, I want you to see just exactly how far. So you'll see my line that I've connected my dots to, and that line is moving quite drastically. So in the center of the quilt, I'm just about 2 inches difference from where my corner was, and you can see here's my other corner up here. So it really doesn't matter where it's at as long as you have that line drawn all the way down so that you can know where your corners are and where you need to adjust for your pantograph. So let's go ahead and slide our pantograph underneath our plastic and make a few reference marks. I've put the pantograph underneath the plastic, and now you can see that my line of reference, which is here, which needs to be on this red line, you can see how kind of kittywampus the bottom of this quilt is. So I need to make some reference marks. I'll start here at my corner because I can line this up pretty true to what I need. And again, taking my vis-a-vis marker, I'm going to go ahead and just give myself a few marks so that I know where my flower actually is and where it goes. If I do that, I can give myself a really good head start when I'm actually stitching the pattern, that as I move along I can adjust the pattern. So now I'm going to tilt the pattern so that I can get closer to my red line. And it's not going to always be perfect, I guess, because fabric just isn't perfect. But try and line it up as close as you can. And again, give yourself some reference marks. I like to give myself at least the reference where the leaves are in this particular motif so that I can work from there. Once I have that part of it, then I'm pretty good. Because now I can adjust my pattern whichever way that I need to, keeping those reference marks. And again, here I'm using the leaves at the intersection, and then I can slide this down to the next intersection, make my reference point, knowing that I will turn and twist this as I need to at my reference points. And my reference points will always be at that leaf. And at the center of my quilt, it looks like I'm pretty well straight across the center area. Let's scoot down a little bit here. And we're almost to our corner. Now, once I get to the corner, I'll want to go ahead and flip my pattern so that I can make my design go up the other side. So once I have the pattern flipped, again, I'm going to mark my reference points going up the side, since that's a fairly straight area. And then I will mark my reference points into this flower on the top and adjust my angle. Now I need to make sure that my flowers between those 2 points will meet each other. And always make sure when you flip your pattern that you flip it back the same direction. So we've got one intersection there, and we'll have to scooch just a little to make that intersection, but we should be able to go around that corner just perfectly. So those are the only registration marks that you need to make. So if we look, we've got a registration at the corner, and we've got dots all the way along the edge, all the way to the other end, to the other corner, and again some registration marks. So let's start quilting. Okay, so we're at our corner point, our leaf intersection that we have marked on our corner. So we're going to move up. We'll go ahead and do this first flower and then stop right in the corner.
So excuse me if I'm a bit gutter. Are you single? Can we mingle? Reply with your eyes, twinkle, twinkle. Skin flawless, not a single wrinkle. She don't know it, but she's already been pulled. A second glimpse is a signal. Play hard to get or keep it simple. I see a Chris